Like, it's okay for you to, like, worship me, but don't, like, worship me. You know what I mean?
Though he's got one of the most famous last names in Hollywood, actor Patrick Schwarzenegger truly made a name for himself with his performance on the hit series The White Lotus earlier this year. He's in conversation with our Lee Cowan.
Every time I'm out in, like, nature, that's kind of where I like to do my prayers or gratitude list.
Got a lot to be grateful for now, huh?
Amen.
Patrick Schwarzenegger is indeed counting his blessings, even though the role he was recently blessed with is anything but reverent.
Dude, those long plane rides make me so horny. It's like a lot of hot women away from home.
He's the much talked about and much hated Saxon Ratliff.
Cougars.
He plays the eldest son of a wealthy family visiting Thailand in the latest incarnation of HBO's The White Lotus.
Saxon doesn't do drugs. No, I am the drug. Whoa!
Saxon is a chiseled car crash, a sex-obsessed, protein shake-chugging bro who is so irredeemably into his own masculinity that he offends even his own sister.
No, girls aren't into super jacked guys, by the way.
Really? What are they into, Piper? Gender goblins that tuck their in between their legs like that?
For his audition, he says all he was given was a short sentence describing Saxon's excitable personality.
Nice to meet you.
The wording was that he flirted with anything. So I just took the first few seconds and just kind of, you know, stared at the camera in a loving way.
Did you have any reservations because he was
Yes.
the way he was?
I was worried. Yes, I was worried. I didn't want him to come off as just this one-note character.
And early on, he didn't even know yet just how sexually awkward things were going to get.
I can't remember last night at all.
We both blacked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Everyone has their thing. It's fine.
No, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's definitely not a thing.
When I was auditioning, they had said, are you okay with performing things sexually? Are you okay being nude at times? So I knew an idea of where it could go. I didn't know to what extent the show would go.
The show's creator, Mike White, has spent 3 seasons pushing the envelope.
Whenever I stay at a White Lotus, I always have a memorable time, always.
Writing exotic whodunits that along the way skewer the rich and privileged vacationing at White Lotus resorts all around the world. A world he knew Patrick probably understood.
There was a joke because he was always like, you don't look like you're rich. You're not walking rich. Aren't you a Schwarzenegger? Aren't you a Kennedy? Aren't you rich in real life? You don't look like you're rich at all.
You are so talented.
The first season, set in Hawaii, debuted during the pandemic in 2021, and it hit Schwarzenegger and his family head on.
It was me, Abby, my fiance, and my mom. We lived together, us 3.
During the pandemic?
During the pandemic. So you can imagine how fun that was. And then they were always like, you need to be in the show, you need to audition, this is such a perfect thing, blah, 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 blah.
His fiancée is fashion model Abby Champion. His mom is journalist and member of the Kennedy clan, Maria Shriver. And his dad...
I'll be back.
Well, that goes without saying. Your dad had said that there were times when he didn't even recognize you in the role, which, when he said that to you, so you were kind of like, wow, really?
Yeah, it would be a little bit alarming if he did recognize a lot of those characteristics.
His best friends are his family. They're also his greatest fans. When he got the part,
You got it!
there were tears all around.
You're gonna make me cry.
Patrick Schwarzenegger has emerged from the White Lotus as a standout among standouts. The kind of breakout he hopes will put to rest any suspicions about nepotism.
To me, the name Schwarzenegger always meant a big plus.
Yeah.
In a recent chat with his dad on Variety's Actors on Actors, Patrick revealed that he worried his name might get in the way.
There were times earlier in my career where I was wondering, does it make sense to go under some sort of alias? Does it make sense to go under a, a different name or
Well, I'm
something?
glad that you kept the name.
Yes.
Because now I can take credit. Yeah, my son, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
He idolized his dad growing up, spending time on movie sets that became his playground.
What the heck was that?
By the time he was 13, he was on his own sets. But he says he rarely brought up his dad.
I mean, I always know that there's, my last name, there's connections, there's, things that are going to help me. But I wanted to try to take a different path than that.
He did, however, follow his dad's path on matters of money, how to run a business, how to create a brand.
My dad put me in charge of his memorabilia when I was 10. And so I would take these different photos of him, at Muscle Beach, and we would frame them. I took replica of the Conan swords and get him to sign them, and I would sell them for $10,000, dollars a pop. It was all for nonprofit. I didn't make any money, but it was to understand how to sell.
He actually majored in business at USC, starting college just about a year after his dad and mom had left the governor's office. Politics has been in his genes, after all, and so is the idea of public service. His grandfather, Sergeant Shriver, was a founding director of the Peace Corps. His grandmother, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, founded the Special Olympics. Have you yourself ever thought about going into politics?
I think it was instilled in us to find ways to give back at an early age. It doesn't have to be through public office to find ways to give back.
Through it all, though, his focus on acting remained pretty singular.
You know I know the real story, right?
He spent a decade in acting class, building a resume one part at a time, recently landing opposite Colin Firth in HBO's The Staircase.
What happened? What happened? Are you okay? What happened to Kathleen?
The Staircase was the first time that the people in the industry were able to see me in a dramatic role.
How do you think you were seen, though, before The Staircase versus after?
Before, people maybe didn't take me serious. They didn't know if I was really, in it for the long haul. Was I, really working on my craft?
I don't have any interests. I don't have any hobbies. Okay, if I'm not a success, then I'm nothing. And I can't handle being nothing.
He hopes his next role will be a character with a few less character flaws than Saxon Ratliff. That said, Patrick Schwarzenegger would happily check back into the White Lotus anytime Mike White asks.
I said, if you don't hire me again, I'll come and be the head of craft services. I'll come and hire me as your scouting location guy because I just want to come and be part of the journey.